Welcome in, my friends. You can see these lovelies. You can't hear them. They can't hear me currently. Actually, that would have been more sensible if they could, but who knows? You can't post links at the minute just because that safety is on. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the first ever Through Our Eyes stream. Today's stream is about marginalized content creators, be they streamers, YouTube video makers, musicians, editors, anyone in the public eye in any way, shape, or form. Almost 30 of them are here today to talk with us about what their lives are like, what their challenges are, what their successes have been. And I am thankful for every single one of them. We are on the front page today, so there are... Hold on, I can hear Dragon. Let me just... There we go. It's going to be very exciting. I'm sure there's going to be some weird mess going on. But thank you all for being here. We are on the front page. There are various things set up on the chat. Various messages will be approved by mods. If it's cheeky, it won't go on. If anyone raids, follows, subs, anything like that, thank you so much for your support. I will call you out in the breaks in between so that I don't interrupt the flow of conversation. I guess let's get into it and invite everyone in. All right, everybody, we are live. Hello, my darlings. Hello. How are you all today? Nervous? That's fine. Today is about honesty, my love, so tell us honestly. Okay. Yep. I've got a headache starting up as well, so I very much feel you. I very much feel you. But thank you all for taking times out of... I mean, this is your weekend, so thank you all for taking the time to come and hang out with us. That's a good point. There we are. Right, so I guess now that I have fixed the weird audio issue that I had for a second, should we get straight into it?
Can I just check beforehand? The chat appears to not be able to hear us.
That's all right. They should be able to hear you now because I just had a weird blocking issue which should be fixed. So there we go. I'll adjust the audio as we go if anything is weird on my end. You will also probably hear cats on the back end of my stream and possibly Lucas as well. So, but yes.
Yep.
Thank you all for being here. Let's get started. So... let's kick off with one of my absolute best friends in the entire world. She's beautiful, and she is so fecking amazing. Let's start with Dr. K. Ross, shall we? Hello, Kay.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you very much. That's a very kind introduction. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. How are you, sweetheart?
Excited and nervous and very happy to be here.
I'm glad to hear it.
Would you like my introduction?
I would. Tell us your name.
Introduction.
Yeah, tell us your pronouns, and then tell us a little bit about you.
So my name is Kay. My pronouns are she, her. And in my free time, in my spare time, I am a streamer on Twitch. My day job is a video game programmer, which is where I got introduced to streaming originally as a guest, talking about various parts of the game I worked on. But for the last year, I've been streaming off my own back as well. I've been blessed with a lovely little community so far. But I also happen to be a trans woman. And I was streaming with work before coming out, and then during, and then now. So my transition has been somewhat public. And of course, that has brought its own interesting aspects and challenges. Which I'm very happy to talk about, or answer questions about, and kind of why.
Oh, there we go.
Is there anything you need to talk about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I suppose I should say what my channel is. It's Dr. K. Ross, DrKayRoss. Same for Twitch and Twitter. And thank you very much. It's lovely to be here.
Yes, if you do want to see the people who are chatting, if you type in !multi, that will give you a link to everybody you can currently see on the screen. So, Kay, why did you want to take part in today's discussion?
Other than to help you out because you are an amazing friend and you deserve lots and lovely things. But over the last few years, what with me doing streaming stuff being public with work, I have had some messages from people in the community for the game I work on, in Twitter, elsewhere, commenting how, not to blow one's own horn, not at all, but mentioning how just having some representation, just having someone who is going through some similar stuff, or someone who's willing to talk about this issue straight on in plain words has helped them, either help them realize who they are, help them be more confident, or just it's been part of the catalyst for them on a few occasions. And it's really, really hit home to me just how important the representation is, how it can help others. And I want to help others if I can. Not saying that I am the empress of everything on this topic at all. I only ever represent myself. Everyone's case and everyone's personality is individual. But I want to be here. I want to talk about things. It needs to be recognized as a part of life and not a hush-hush thing, or it's a political thing, or anything like that.
Very much so, very much so. And last question, nice and quick before we go on to Commander Plater. What is your favourite video game?
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be a long one. So, of the last year.
Oh my word, of the last year, it's probably I often have the brain farts as well.
Mm-hmm.
Outer Wilds. I've got to make sure I get, because there's two very similar named ones.
Yes.
And this is the one with the exploration around a star system, working out a mystery. And I streamed it fairly recently, and it was just amazing. Very, very well done.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Kate. We will be back with you shortly. Let us introduce the incredible Commander Plato, who has a very unique story in of themselves and has always been an absolute gem when I've met up with them. Hello, Plato.
Hello.
How are you doing, Joe?
I'm doing okay. I'm tired, which is my default state, no matter how much sleep I get. I'm a 12 hours sleep kind of guy, and I still wake up tired. So that's fun.
Yep, we get that. Beard's coming in good though.
Oh, I shaved it off fairly recently, and then I streamed, and everyone was just shocked, appalled. I think people were like, "No, the beard!" And it's like, what? I mean, sometimes I like not to have food in my face. It's like that's how that is.
Yeah. Oh gosh, bit less Roald Dahl, just a bit more comfy. All right, so can you just quickly give us a rundown of what your name is, what your pronouns are, and then where people can find you online if they want to come and check you out?
Yeah, sure. I am Commander Joe Plater. You can call me Joe, or you can call me Plater. Both of my names, so I don't mind. You can. I'm a he, him, dickbag, whatever you want, really. I am not bothered at all. I can be found online on Twitch and on YouTube and on Twitter, CMDR Plater. You'll find me on YouTube for that, CMDR_Plater on Twitch. You can also find me as Joe Plater on YouTube as well, where I vlog. I'm here because I have anaplastic thyroid cancer, which is an incurable form of cancer, and I was diagnosed with that 2 years ago. And at that point, I was given months to live.
Yep.
I was literally told that I would have months, and that was it. Here's some chemo. Good luck. We'll see if you survive or not. And I'm here to use later on.
Yep, and you're still kicking ass at Beat Saber and everything like that in events. So yeah, definitely still here with us, which is, I gotta say, inspirational for a lot of us. And I don't throw that word around like, oh, you're inspiring, but more, you have really kicked its ass. So congratulations, mate.
I've done my best. I've definitely done my best.
So why did you want to take part in today's discussion?
There's a lot of people that have questions that don't often get a chance to ask them, and there's a lot of confusion and misinformation around cancer flying around on the internet these days, ranging from alternative treatments to what causes it to things you can do at home in order to fix it for yourself and stuff like that. And at the same time, not a lot of people give that open, honest, clear piece of communication about turning around and going, yeah, today's really bad. I actually don't feel like doing anything. Or these are the side effects I'm suffering from my drugs. This is what it's like. This is what I've been through. And there isn't a huge amount of information out there. If you go through formal channels, for example, I'm a patron of the British Thyroid Foundation, the charity, and they have lots of great information, but no first-hand experience. And that's kind of what I wanted to add to the mix.
Fantastic. And quickly, of the last year, what's been your favourite video game?
I'm going to go really out there and cheat on the question, but I've been playing an awful lot of StarCraft Remastered,
Cool.
and that has been my real return to it, from initially playing it when I was a teenager, not doing university work, to now at age 36 going on 37 trying to get good at it. So that's what I've been doing a lot, especially during lockdown.
And have you gotten good at it?
No.
Right, fair enough. Good. No. Honesty is key here. All right, thank you, Joe. Again, we will be back with you shortly. And now on to a new friend of mine who I have secretly fangirled over for a very long time and think she's fantastic. Hello, Stacey of Gotham.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. We are post-migraine. I've got my tea. I've got my goth juice. I realised that it's now flipped and it says Herthog. It's huge.
Excellent.
I'm doing good.
Fantastic.
So I guess I'll introduce myself. Hey, everybody. My name is Stacey. I stream under Stacey of Gotham. I'm a disabled content creator. I have fibromyalgia and postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which, for anyone that doesn't know, that basically means that I'm in pain 24 hours a day and get dizzy a lot and motion sick and stuff like that. So I started streaming on Twitch when I got ill about 7 years ago. And I was finding it really difficult to work. I kind of, had a lot of my life taken away from me. And Twitch was somewhere that I could go and I could stream for however long I wanted. And I kind of built this community that was really supportive and really kind. So Twitch was really like a lifeline for me at the time. And I've never let go. I'm still here about six or 7 years later. So
incredible.
So I like to talk about it a lot. I think it's really important for people to understand what we go through and to be open and honest about it, which is why I wanted to join this stream. I also have a Twitch team and a Discord server called Chronically Badass, which is for all of the wonderful disabled and chronically ill streamers and viewers out there. So everyone's got a little safe-knit community that they can talk about all that, weird medical stuff and make friends. And I'm also a games accessibility advocate and specialist. So that's something that really fascinates me and I care about a lot. I, in particular, have a lot of issues with related to my cognitive function because pain makes your brain melt a little bit.
Yes.
So that's what I talk about a lot. I talk about cognitive accessibility. So that's me.
Thank you very much, monstering through our questions. So I guess the last one to ask then is, of the last year, what is your favourite video game?
I am going to go with Ghost of Tsushima because that was the game that sucked me in so much that I had to get all of the trophies for. I finished the main story and I just did not want to put it down. I was like, I need to keep playing this game. I want to pet all the foxes and murder all the people. That was my favorite game of the year, I think. But I played a lot. I played a lot this year.
Brilliant.
We haven't had much else to do in 2020.
Very true, very true. That may explain why I've just streamed Phasmophobia for 150 hours.
Oh boy.
Woof! Anyway. Thank you so much, Stacey. All right.
No worries.
Let's introduce our next guest. Our next guest is also a new friend who appears to have an affinity for very cute plushies and fantastic hair. Dragon Freaky, welcome in, my darling. Hello.
Thank you. I did not expect that.
Oh.
Thank you. So yeah, my name is Dragon Freaky. My real name is Dion. I usually don't use that online because I don't prefer it just in general. But honestly, I wanna tell everything. I usually got called Dragon, Drago, Freaky. Do whatever you want. I will probably listen. So
fantastic. So we've got your name. Can you let us know what your pronouns are, and then tell us a little bit why you wanted to be part of today's discussion?
In general, it's just he, him. I suppose I never really thought about it.
Cool.
So so I'm pretty flexible on that as well.
Fair enough.
And the reason I wanted to be part of this, well, I saw it on Twitter, obviously, like a long time ago when you mentioned it. And to be honest, I wasn't sure if I was like qualified or anything, since I don't do that much online, at least back then. My biggest reason is just PTSD. I have PTSD all my life. I had the biggest struggles. I still live in the place where it happens. When I go to work, I usually pass the place that it happens. And a thing that recently happened so far, so that's still fingers crossed that I think I sort of overcame it as well. After all
Fantastic.
those years, I kind of managed to get it out, like be done with it. And since then, I didn't have any images or anything. So that's quite an accomplishment on its own, if I say so myself. But
Very
I
much
just
so.
I want to be as open about it as possible, just for people that experience possibly the same. It can be very lonely. And the thing I learned in my life is loneliness is one of the worst things to have. So
Yes.
that's why, I
And
want to counter that.
yeah, I will say there was an excellent video if you're interested in just a little bit more information about loneliness, from your Korean dad on Twitter, posted yesterday. And the one thing to know about loneliness is it isn't your fault, and being lonely is not the same as not being worthy of love. So if you are lonely, it's not your fault, and you are still
No,
worthy,
exactly.
and that can change. So yes, thank you so much for sharing, Dragon. Thank you so
No
much.
problem.
It's a very unique perspective, and I'm really glad to get to talk to you about it a bit today. But before we move on to our next guest, could you tell us of the last year what your favourite video game has been?
I kind of prepared for that question,
Good,
but
good.
until you actually said about the last year, and I was like, oh. Like, I usually have an all-timer, but for the last year, I suppose, which was kind of the last 2 weeks of last year, I think that's going to be Phasmophobia, because it's also the reason why I got back into Twitch, and just the whole scariness, I screamed my lungs out the first few rounds. I managed to get my friend killed by Michael Jackson as well.
Fantastic. Fair
Yeah,
enough. Good
exactly.
time.
Found the Ouija board, used it, and he got locked in. So yeah, I think that's gonna be my last year's favorite, hands down.
Yeah,
Like, I've done a
hard
lot, but
agree.
yeah.
Hard agree. I'm looking forward to that. To just playing more of it and all the updates. Could you tell us where people can find you online if they want to come and check you out?
Definitely on Twitter. I might not post like frequently, but I definitely always look on Twitter. And obviously on Twitch. That's all /DragonFreaky. And I want to say YouTube, but I haven't touched that in years, so that's not really a good place. Yeah, that's about it, actually, I think.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's move on to our next guest, who is absolutely fantastic, usually has incredible hair colours, but is always amazing, kind, and very funny. It's Vane Payne. Hello, Vane.
Good afternoon. I feel slightly less glorious with the hair colour, seeing as I'm long overdue a trip to the hairdressers, but lockdown has put that to pay, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah. So bit of natural going on. But I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll cope.
You just have two-tone now. It's fine.
I know. Oh well.
So, Vane, my darling, could you let us know what name you go by, your pronouns, and then tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so I'm Vane Payne. I don't mind Vane Payne, Vane or Pain. I generally make a joke about bringing the pain whenever I go raid someone. So, nothing like taking the mick out yourself. But I am currently, pronouns first. I am she, her. I'm cisgendered woman. And I a part-time stream basically around my day job. I'm a project manager by day. So imagine me being a whirlwind of chaos when I can get my ducks in a row at work. But yeah, I'm also bisexual, pansexual. And I asked to join in with this event because I also have PTSD like Dragon does. I'm currently undergoing EMDR therapy for the PTSD, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy.
Wow.
I'm sure I can explain more about that later, but it's a bit of a mouthful. But I also with that have generalized anxiety disorder and depression. So I'm a massive mental health advocate, and part of the reason why I stream, and I also have a mental health stream once a week, is to try and break down that stigma and offer out a safe space for people to come and actually have a chat and just hang. And if you're not feeling okay, it's okay not to be okay.
Yes.
You can do that. So, and I think it's just nice to be able to help allay other people by saying it's okay to not be okay.
Yes, that's definitely something. It is okay to not be okay, and I mean, most of us this morning have woken up not okay, and brought it back around. So, yes, you're good. Plato, what happened with your background? Did your cat bring it down? I see everything.
Yeah, so Alfred's currently going absolutely crazy nuts because he's a 4-month-old kitten, and he slammed into the back of the screen and made it move a little bit. Don't worry, it's fine.
Oh, good. It's all right. It's all right. No earthquake. We're good. We're good.
Yep.
All right.
Live TV. Yeah.
Back to Vane then. Back to Vane. Vane, my darling. Where can people find you then? Because your mental health streams are fantastic. I've looked in a few of them. So where can people find you if they want to come and check those out for themselves?
Okay, so yeah, I'm Vane Pain on Twitch. I'm also Vane Pain on Twitter, Instagram. I've yet to venture into YouTube, but I think it's just because I'm fresh meat in terms of streaming, so I've yet to kind of expand my mind. So I'm trying to deal with what I've got with as many spoons as I have.
Yes, definitely. And we'll explain the spoon theory a bit later as well for anyone who doesn't know what that is. So, seeing as you've already answered most of my questions, everyone here is so good at interviews. You've already answered all my questions. Hey. Of the last year, then, can you tell us what your favourite game has been?
I'm absolutely terrible because I don't usually play things when they're actually released.
That's all right. What's the favourite thing you've played this year or last? You know what I mean. My favourite thing that I've played this year, I would probably say, is I can't decide between two because I'm really enjoying playing Prey. Yes.
Now I don't do horror, I don't do scare, and yet apparently I love torturing myself with scare spoops. So I really like Prey for that. But I also like Among Us for the social aspect of playing with friends and just bickering with each other. It's fun to throw each other under the bus and stab each other in the back.
That is true. That is true. It is in a game, please, people. In a game. Please don't do that in real life. No, that would be a problematic thing to explain to somebody how my stream inspired a slew of fatal accidents. Please don't do that. But thank you so much, Vane. We're actually ahead of time, which is really good. We can flex for a minute. Let's get on to the next person, who is fantastic, a very good friend of mine. They have been a massive supporter. I've loved their streams. We've worked together on some charity stuff before. They're just absolutely wonderful. WK Jez, hello, my darling.
Hello, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
Fraught.
Fair enough.
Fraught. Yeah, it's crazy at the moment.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're here with us, even if it is being a little stressful. But thank you so much for being here. It is lovely to talk to you, because I know you weren't so sure about appearing on the stream initially, and then you decided that it's something you wanted to do, and it takes a lot of bravery to put yourself out in front of people. So I admire you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
So let's start simple then. Can you tell us what name you go by, your pronouns, and just a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Jerry, or WK Jez here on Twitter. Twitch, and I go by he him.
Yep.
And yeah.
Fantastic. And then what about a little bit about yourself? What do you do?
So yeah, I've mostly been streaming Elite Dangerous here on the platform, but aside from doing content creation, most of what I do is computer science based, with an aspiration to eventually go into teaching and training, and that's kind of been the main focus of my life, sort of, the last 4 or 5 years, is to just get to this point in my life and try and make a positive change and just kind of flip everything on its head.
Excellent. And why did you want to be part of today's discussion specifically?
Yeah, so this is an odd one. you could probably, obviously people watching can tell that I don't have the webcam on, and a lot of it was watching what you was doing and talking about on Twitter, and I've spent a long time not really talking about and putting myself out there of why I do certain things the way that I do them and all the rest of it. And it kind of comes down to I am fiercely guarded both online as well as in person because I suffer from quite a severe um, agoraphobia and communication issues where basically when things start really snowballing internally, I don't communicate very well, and it can sometimes lead into a little bit of paranoia, especially when we're dealing with online discussions um, asynchronously. But some of it leads to some really funny moments because when I get and I do watch some VODs back and I see it when I get to really go in and get myself in a bit of a tizzy, I'll forget what I'm saying midway through, and it happens all the time on my stream. I'll start going off on a mega ramble, and I'll be like, "Yeah, what was that? What was I talking about?"
Yes.
And it's just, it's just like fuzz, sometimes. But why did you asked why I came on? It's just because it gives me a chance to actually talk about it because I've not really talked to really anybody, especially not openly about it, and just always came up with little excuses and that of why I do things the way I do.
I'm incredibly proud of you for coming and talking about this, especially being what triggers you having some panic and some paranoia. I can imagine this isn't easy for you, and I'm really proud that you're coming and talking with us today, mate. And it's wonderful to hear. I've taught a student with agoraphobia before, and I saw firsthand how scary and difficult it can be. So yeah, very proud of you for coming and talking with us.
You make it easy. I mean, the people that you've got on here and everything is just like some remarkable people. So
yeah, well, you're along with them, so you must be remarkable as well.
Thank you.
So let's go to a little bit of a more casual question that's hopefully easier, though it may not be. Of the last year, what has been your favourite game to play?
I might be pushing the rules a bit because it may be of the last couple of years, but it may surprise some people. An absolute fantastic game is Journey. If anybody's played that, it's such a great game. Just you don't know who you're playing with until the very end, and you whatever's happening, you've got a story playing out, but you kind of make up the little bits in between in your head. Such an introspective game. It's been fantastic.
Yes, it's one I still need to play. It's one I haven't actually played yet. There's a lot on my list that got pushed aside by Alien Isolation and then Prey and then Phasmophobia. So but yes, I'll definitely bear that in mind. Thank you, my darling, so much for coming in. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. There is one person left who is last but not least. She's already giggling. There's a cat on her screen. She has been a friend of mine for many, many years. She's fantastic. She is royalty. Hello, Queen Luca.
Hey there.
Hello, Luke and I, my darling. How are you doing?
Well, a week and now over 48 hours of a migraine.
Oof.
And but I'm here. I slept for a few hours. I have still some coffee left. So we can do this.
You're here. You're doing it. You're managing. If you do need to drop out at any point, and that goes for any of you, don't worry about making a fuss. Just take your time. Again, everyone's health is paramount here, so make sure you look after you. But I'm very pleased to see you here, Luca. You're looking very lovely. I'm always envious of your eye makeup. But let's start nice and simple. Tell us your name, tell us your pronouns, and then tell us a little bit about you.
So I am known as Queen Lucanai of the Kingdom of Luca, but everyone calls me Luca or Lucanai. That works. I use pronouns she, her, and fun fact, I actually created the name Lucanai because everyone assumed I was a guy online, and I was just pissed off about that. So I created the name Lucanai, and turns out that Luca is a male Italian name, so that just didn't work out great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I first discovered Twitch in 2013 when was the same year I became disabled. I used to work as a community manager for a game. And then at some point I was suddenly in horrible pain and I couldn't walk. And I couldn't use computer. I couldn't do anything other than lay on the couch and watch streams. So basically, at first I was a viewer, then I was actually modding for including like top 10 Twitch streamers. And then 3 years ago, I became full-time streamer. I say full-time because I stream as much as my health allows me.
Yeah.
I would love to stream like more often, but you know, it just doesn't happen. And as far as my health, I've been diagnosed after 2 years ago. So I first became disabled 2013, and I've been diagnosed in late 2018. So there have been quite a few years without diagnosis when I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. And I've been stuck for months and months in a tiny apartment without going outside. So I got quite a lot of medical trauma from that. And in the end, I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, hypermobile type, which is a connective tissue disorder, which means it's a hypermobile type. So it mainly affects my joints. But what it really does is that changes the way collagen works in my body. It's either not the right kind of collagen or something along those lines. And collagen is basically everywhere in body. It affects my skin, my healing. I bruise easily because it affects veins. It affects digestion. It affects hearing. I have hearing problems. It can affect eyesight, which for me, thankfully, it hasn't yet. And I could go on and on, but if there is soft tissue in the body, there's collagen.
Yes.
When it comes to my health, it just comes up and down, and no one is able to pinpoint why. It's a rare disease, or disorder, I should say. So doctors, they just don't know. And that's it. There is no treatment. There is no cure. The only treatment options are physical therapy, which I do. I do a lot of exercises, a lot of physical therapy, and then painkillers, which I take so I could function. Before I was diagnosed, I had basically no painkillers, and I spent those years without anything. And I know how bad it is, and I don't want to go back. So basically, I have to really fight for myself now when I'm talking to doctors and tell them that I may look okay. You don't look at me and be like, there is something wrong with me. I have to really be an advocate for myself that I know how much it sucks if I don't have the medicine that helps, even if it's just painkillers. So I have to do that. Anyway, so 3 years ago, I started streaming full-time on Twitch, and I'm a variety streamer, and I focus mainly on strategy and simulation, and I raise awareness about living with a disability. I often talk about things like my these are my finger braces, so my fingers would not overextend and not damage the joints more. I talk about a lot when I cannot sit at all, and I cannot sit at a computer. I have to lay on the couch. Sometimes I stream from the couch, and sometimes I cannot even stream from the couch. I often have horrible brain fog that I cannot even think. And I try to be very open about all of this, because if you are able, you cannot imagine how it is to live with something like I have, but how much my life is affected by it. That's why I also write a blog on my Ko-fi page, where I once a week post about anything, what is happening with my health right now, or some general disability issues. Anything else?
It's all right. Husband's just bringing me the wrist splints because the wrists are starting to play up a little bit. But there we go. We've got that. But thank you, Luca. Very nice, in-depth explanation. And we all, I think a lot of us understand the brain fog issue. Happens to a lot of us. And again, if you don't know what that is, people who are watching, we will explain as we go on. Luca's already pretty much covered why they wanted to be part of today's stream. So, of the last year, what was your favourite video game? And can you tell us what your cat's name is?
I will start with the games because I hate that question. I'm a variety streamer for a reason.
Well, more like what have you personally played that you've liked?
Of the games I was not streaming, I absolutely love Murder by Numbers, which I played on my Switch as a chill. It's a Picross game that has a wonderful story, and I play mainly strategy simulation, and anything I get hands on, especially city builders, I love it. As long as I play it, I love it, and then there is a new love. So yeah. So cats. So you can see here, this is Sigurd, and he has to be near me.
Oh, yes.
He is there every time I stream, and each time, at least once during a stream, he has to purr into the microphone. If I don't let him purr into the microphone, he will come and headbutt the microphone. He also has his own camera, as you can see, and when he's up, sometimes he will go just sniff and cuddle to the camera. He knows it's a camera. I'll be holding him here. He will be purring into the microphone and looking into the camera. So his name is Tiger, which is spelled like tiger, but a different pronunciation because I am Slavic. And I have 2 other cats. I have a wonderful fiance that is helping me. So this is Zaya, and he's a very long cat. And he usually just screams on my stream. You cannot see him. He will just scream, and he is very not impressed with life. He loves people, but he's super scared. He's like socially awkward cat. If doorbell rings, he goes to hide. And he's really lovely, and he drools when you cuddle him.
Oh yeah.
But he's just he was caught in a colony of feral cats. All my cats are rescues, and he was the most special out of them. He was caught as a feral cat, and they spayed him and figure out that, oh wait, he's not a feral cat. He's just a really scared cat. And they already knew me from the other cats. He's the youngest at 8 years old. So that's Zaya. It means bunny in Slovak because how in English you have scaredy cat, in Slovak there's scaredy bunny. So that's why he's a bunny. He's also missing a part of his ear, which was the mark of feral cats that they are spayed.
Yeah.
You are free to go now, honey. Goodbye. And you can come into the frame if you want to, or no. Okay. This is the oldest one. Oh, honey. Her name is Sue, and she loves coffee.
Cool.
And she loves mental, and she's just a weird cat. She is the most cat-like out of my cats, but she's a super weird cat. Can you? Oh, come on, honey. You really don't want to be here. I'll
Okay, bye-bye.
You can kiss me. Kitty. Busu. And that is how I train my cat, that when they want to go, they give me a kiss and then they can go. And they are very much a part of my channel. There wouldn't be my channel without the cats because I just cannot get rid of them.
Yeah.
They have to come.
Yeah, mine's just sprinted across the background and straight up onto the window. Thank you so much, Luca, for that. I will take a quick moment to introduce myself for anyone who doesn't know me. Hello. My name is Paige. I go by Arthremis, which is a nickname which is a mixture of arthritis, which I have, and Greek mythology, which I love and studied for a few years. I go by Arthremis or Paige. You can call me whatever. My pronouns are she, her, because I am a cisgendered woman. I very, very firmly believe in all people having equal rights. I think it's going to be a long road to getting everyone there and allowing everybody just to live, but I have this platform, so I use it, and I will always do what I can to sort of balance the playing field and make things a lot safer. As I say, I know it'll take time, but if there aren't people willing to stand up and do it, like I do, and like I'm sure everyone here does as well, nothing will happen. I wanted to create today's discussion exactly for that reason. I saw there are a lot of various people, marginalized creators, who were all trying to have a voice, whether they're huge or small, and I wanted to bring us all together so we can share and teach and educate and laugh and get to know each other a little bit more, because there's always going to be, like, marginalized people aren't just a hive mind. We don't just all know each other. Like, there's a lot to learn about each other and the things that we do. So that's really why I wanted to hold this talk specifically, and I'm very thankful for Twitch for giving us a front page slot for 2 hours, which is crazy. But it seems to be going well. Massive thank you to the mods for keeping the chat all lovely and looked after, and for keeping everyone on the everyone on the stream nice and safe. I have psoriatic arthritis, I have depression, and I have fibromyalgia, which I was diagnosed with about 3 months ago. I have lots of wrist issues, which is why I have to wear these weird metal-looking splints. There's a lot I know about and a lot I don't, so I'm really excited to get to learn from everybody here. My favourite game of the last year has absolutely been Phasmophobia. It's really allowed me to find my place as a streamer. I really didn't know where I was going to fit in, having been a community manager for the last 3 years in the games industry. And a lot of people that already knew me from that, but that wasn't what I wanted to do long term. And so as I started to discover horror games that I loved, and other people were like, I love horror games, but I don't like being scared, then it sort of all fell in my lap, and it's allowed me to really decide what I want to do. So I love horror, and Phasmo has been a massive thing for introducing me to other streamers. So that's just a little bit about me. People are more than welcome to ask questions. How is everyone feeling? Thank you all for taking the time out of your days and for your lovely introductions. Are we all feeling good and ready for some questions?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Heck yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Stretching out. Let's get straight into a quite big question. So these questions all came from the public, so they may, I will put it in a polite way, they may sound a little obtuse is probably the best way. I tidied them up as best I could. They all come from a place of genuine wanting to learn and to understand, and we're going to use these as springboards to take us into further discussion. So the first question is about the LGBTQIA+, and there are a few more characters you can put on that as well, but my brain will lose them into the fog of everything, so I'm going to put the plus there. So the first question is, do you think that being LGBTQIA+ is used as a ploy for marketing? Some examples may be that Cyberpunk 2077 was panned quite a lot for their online marketing fetishizing trans people. There's also Celeste's protagonist a few years after the game came out, and in a later DLC was revealed to be a trans character. Is this simply a ploy for marketing, or do you believe it's trying to have more representation? Shall we start with Dr. K. Ross and then sort of just work down the list, or do you want to just input as we go?
Oh, well, we could spend an entire 2 hours on this topic, especially with the last few months of Cyberpunk. But
Yeah.
I'll want to first start, however, with Celeste there, and that Maddie themselves, the creator of Celeste, did then later come out as trans themselves, very bravely, very heartfelt on Twitter. And games are another discussion now. Games are art. Games are art, no question. All games, there's always artistic meaning behind the creation and the flow and the presentation of them. And at least in Celeste's terms, I don't want to speak for the creator, there was a lot of Maddie in there. It is a work of them, and I don't think only the most cynical person can go, oh, that's just for marketing. No, it's a part of who they are. It's a part of their existence. And at the end of the day, I don't think anyone would consider making a trans character just to get more marketing or better exposure. We are not the again, this is bad for me to speak for all people everywhere. We are not the most marketable and most well understood and most accepted people in the world, especially at the moment. So, no, I think there have been cases, though, like you say with Cyberpunk, where games companies are not homogeneous blobs. They are not single entities. There are many different departments and many different peoples in them. And marketing departments are always going to market and can often be incredibly insensitive. Now, I don't work there. I know people who do. I've not asked them about it explicitly. I think they were trying to go, oh, yes, we can be inclusive, but did not speak to anyone involved about it. They didn't consider it, and they were incredibly insensitive. And I think that blew back in their face. I don't believe, my personal interpretation, were just trying to use trans people as marketing. They were trying to go, oh yes, we can be inclusive, but hadn't thought it through at all in either
Yes.
presentation or in how they actually develop some of the features.
So it was a good idea that ended up missing the mark, really, because if you're going to talk about a marginalized person, you should really try speaking to that kind of marginalized person to actually soundboard it and get their immediate thoughts.
No, I don't want to pigeonhole just in cyberpunk forever, but just for one other wee bit to talk about on that, there is a huge dichotomy between that piece of marketing with that imagery, that fetishization, and another example in the game itself with an actual trans character, and their existence as a trans person is not a plot point. It's not a we can leverage their trauma as drama. No, they just happen to be trans. They mention it once, and it's part of their natural character, and that's lovely representation in that part of the game. I'm not going to say much because spoilers or whatnot.
Yes.
And it's such a shame that it can't be more like that than the we got to make everything about lewdness because sex sells.
Yeah, thank you, Kay. That very nuanced. I like that because, and I see lots of nodding heads as we're going through, sort of agreeing. Does anyone else want to input on this one? What do other people think?
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk very much about Celeste. I hadn't heard about it, but kind of I very much had a very similar rant to what Kay's just explained on one of my own streams about the fetishization from the Cyberpunk team. For one, for me, what was quite problematic for in particular that game was their cosplay competition. I believe it was their winner. She had a perfectly good version of the kind of poster in-game poster in question, but then chose to kind of retrospectively have an LED phallus, which I think was highly inappropriate. And they didn't really kind of challenge her and didn't challenge, or they didn't handle the criticism particularly well. So that was kind of my issue with it personally.
Cool.
But with regards to kind of generally kind of marketing using kind of quote unquote the pink pound as it's termed, it's really about context. What one person would deem as kind of an attempt at garnering some more money from the LGBTQIA community maybe seem as perfectly wholesome and kind of, you know, taken from the correct, like, you know, a place of love as opposed to just money.
Yeah.
So it's kind of got to be dealt with on a case by case basis, I think. But and again, not to pick on Cyberpunk, but as Kay said, if you're gonna have kind of trans people involved in your game, bring them to the table and actually have that discussion with them, because then you'll actually make a better kind of product and actually better represent those people.
Fantastic. Thank you, Vane. Stacey, what did you want to say?
I just wanted to say that I hard agree. I feel like people aren't consulted a lot of the time. I don't personally think that Cyberpunk had any, you know, they weren't trying to be insensitive. I think they just didn't consult the right people, or, you know, consult more than one person, because, you know, one trans person's opinion might not be the same as another trans person's opinion, and everyone has different experiences, and we need to draw from all of them. And I just wanted to ask if anyone had played Tell Me Why, which was the story game from, I think it was from Don't Nod, the people that did Life is Strange, and it featured a trans character, and it was actually a really nice story, and I really enjoyed it. But
I haven't played it personally. I watched Rebel play it because I couldn't remember the name of the game. I was going to mention it myself. I think they also had the person playing the character was actually a trans man themselves.
Brilliant. Yeah, I remember seeing Froggy Void playing it, and it was fantastic. I didn't walk into the stream, obviously, but I turned on the stream, and they were just crying immediately, and I'm like, oh, I see what we're in for. Okay.
Yeah, and I think it would be nice one day to get to a point where people, you know, with people that are different, you know, a trans person, a disabled person, we're not used as a plot, you know, our issue or our difference isn't used as a plot device. You know, we just exist in the world, which would be really nice. So I'm looking forward to that kind of storytelling in games where, you know, people aren't just used as a plot device, and as Kay said, our trauma isn't used as a plot device, and we just exist. You know, we're just here. We're just trying to live our lives. Yeah, that's where I fall on that. Just let people exist.
Yes. Very good.
Can I?
You absolutely can. Go ahead, Luca.
So I look at it as a person who really dislikes seeing sexual content on social media and things like that. I just don't want to see naked people. You know, you can do it, fine, but I just don't want to see it. And I will go to Cyberpunk because that, to me, it just felt like they like seeing a naked just female body or like cis female body or cis male body is just not shocking enough. So now to take it to the next sexual craze value, let's put a trans person there. And that is how it felt to me. Like it felt like, yeah, let's just put a light up dildo essentially into someone's costume. And that's how I feel about it. And in a way it feels like, yes, some companies in this case they just used it because that's the current shock value that is like starting to become acceptable, but it's not acceptable yet. Whereas games that just have LGBTQA plus characters, they don't do that. They don't over sexualize people like that. I think that is a huge distinction.
Yeah, thank you very much for bringing that up. That's a fair point. My chat has just reminded me of one that I did want to mention myself before I just check with everyone else if they have anything they'd like to add. If you would like to see a good representation of a trans character that is just a trans character, The Elder Scrolls Online has, and this is slight spoilers if you haven't done the Somerset quests, there is a quest in Elder Scrolls Online in the Somerset DLC where you speak to a high elf who's trying to find her brother. And they've been close since birth. They were twins, and they were always best friends. But the brother wanted to go off and be a thespian, and the sister wanted to be a scientist, essentially. And she's like, I know that he's here with this troop of thespians, but they all wear masks. I don't know which one he is. Go and find him for me. And you do. But you find her. You find a lady called Alchemy, and she begs you to just tell her sister that she's happy. Well, she says to tell her that her brother is happy and finally where he wanted to be, and to get her to go and follow her dreams, because they knew that the sister wouldn't leave, but they also wouldn't understand. So the whole quest goes through and the sister leaves dejected, but you then get chased up by Alchemy, the female character, the trans female character, who walks up to the sister and they're like, you're hiding my brother from me. And she says, no, I'm your sister. And it's so beautiful because at that moment, just the voice chat between the two of them is just saying, why didn't you just tell me? If you were happy, I would have been happy. We've lost out on so much time. And that quest ends with them just sitting on a beach, holding hands, talking. And I sobbed when I got to that point because I was like, oh, maybe to hide from the sister, this male character had dressed up to go off with a troop. But no, this character was legitimately a trans character, and it wasn't played for laughs. It was just played as you can be whoever you want to be as part of this troop. And yeah, that quest, if you want to see, I think, a trans character done right, where it still does draw attention to the fact they are trans, because you can still talk about trans characters being trans, that was so beautiful. It was an incredible quest, and I'm really proud that Elder Scrolls just put that in as they did.
No, that does really sound wholesome, and I must say, I almost I almost got a little bit emotional just by the whole story. You know, like it sounds so just like how it should be, like for me in general. To get a little bit on the original question, like personally, I think the thing is with marketing teams, usually what I feel like it's not just only with trends, but just in general when it comes to stereotype or anything. Like you have gothic people, then they are always bad people, you know, and they're always evil or anything like that. The thing is, what's mentioned earlier as well is like if you have just people come over that are having the lifestyle or just having that transformation or anything, how do you want to call it, just having those type of people coming over and tell about their life and their story and just be like, well, this is it, and I think you can have so much better results than the other thing. Like, I don't mind that they're marketing it and maybe use it for financial reasons as well, but I do mind it when they place it badly. Now, it should just be a normal thing, not something like, oh wow, like what has been mentioned as a shocking factor. It's no, I find that, like, in a certain way almost offensive, because then yeah, it should just be normal, like everything, like people being whatever they want, just normal. It's the world, it is. And someone in my chat, Mystery, also mentioned really well about The Sims 4 introducing gay couples and trans characters as the town people in content. They didn't mention it anyway, it was just there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they just updated it, they just didn't mention it, and it was just there. That's just the way it should be. Like, it's normal. Why exclusively mention it or anything, like it, yeah, let people discover it. And then that's like, in a way that I yeah, that was my 2 cents on it.
That it's fantastic. Thank you so much, Dragon. And
I wanted to chip in, if that's okay.
go for it, Plater.
As someone who is essentially outside looking into the situation, is there are certain things that are used for in every single piece of media out there in some way, shape, or form, whether it be a book, film, TV, games, that no one looks at, and you can tell very clearly that they've not had experience with it to start off with. And it's no surprise when I say cancer, because that comes up everywhere.
Yes.
And it is used as a plot line. It is used as it's not used as a marketing tool, because you can't market that, really. I don't think you can market. You can't market to people with cancer, because trust me, we know. We don't want to go and watch something. We don't want to go and watch someone pretend to go through what we've already been through inaccurately. And I can only assume trans people may come in and see something. Oh, well, that's not accurate. That's not how that is. That's not how that feels. I didn't feel like that. In fact, I don't know anyone who feels like that. And you get this with almost every single aspect of life. And like I say, you look at your TV shows, and there's always a character that has cancer, right? And they get it, and they either die from it or they recover.
Yeah.
It's never slow and ongoing. And I've had cancer. Well, I've known I've had cancer for 4 years. Obviously, I had it before that, because when it was first found, I already had metastases in my lungs.
Yeah.
So it already spread. I was at stage 4 at diagnosis. Okay, that's cool. Now, the thing is that if I was in TV, I would have done chemotherapy and been cured, or I would have died.
Yeah. I
wouldn't have carried on still going for appointments every month for 4 years, and that'd been part of the plot line in, say, like EastEnders, for example. It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, you'd have fallen off a building before you got treatment. Like,
well, I would have been cured, and then something else would have got me. Maybe a house fire or something, because that's what happened.
Yeah.
And it's this very weird kind of, certain things get used, then put to one side. And I, honestly, thinking back, I'm trying to think of any TV show that I have seen where someone has transitioned in an appropriate amount of time, or even transitioned at all. And I'm trying to think, have I actually seen any TV shows where that's happened? And it's not the kind of thing that you normally see on TV or see in games or see in movies, where they show a full transition. They'll make the character disappear and they come back and they're a different actor. It's that kind of, it's a very odd thing. But yeah, I mean, looking at it from someone who, I'm a straight white male by birth. That's me. That's who I am.
Yep.
It's like, it's very difficult for me to fully understand how someone might feel. So I think this is a really useful conversation to be had.
A couple of points from my chat as well before I just check in with Jerry in case they have anything they'd like to say for this as well. There are 2 people currently that I personally follow online that have recently started talking a lot more about 3 people actually, their trans journeys, or their journeys to understanding they are non-binary. One of them being Jim non-binary finery Sterling, who I am a massive fan of their metaphorical balls in standing up for themselves, really being who they are and not giving a shit. They have been so lovely when I've talked to them on stream, so yes to them. Eddie Izzard, who I have collected the DVDs from since I was 8 years old and have always loved their conversations about being an executive transvestite and now really realising themselves as a woman. It makes me so proud and so happy to see that. And Elliot Page. And Elliot Page, I've always liked. When I recently watched The Umbrella Academy, the very first thing, and I text Kay the instant I saw it, I was like, they've changed the title cards. It doesn't say Ellen anymore. It says Elliot. And just the instant that I saw they had just changed it, no pomp, no circumstance, no announcement. It was just, oh, this is it. This is who this person is. We're not going to make a to-do about it. This character is played by Elliot Page. And I'm like, yes, this is how it should be. Like, there shouldn't be an argument. There shouldn't be a discussion. It should just be, oh, excellent, cool, done. So, and I'm very glad to hear that they are actually going to address the transition in season 3. You know, with an actual trans character guiding it. So I'm really excited to see what it does. And hopefully if we have this same conversation next year, we can go, actually, we all know a show where this was done really well. And, you know, I'm hoping that's where we get to it. But let me jump back out for a moment and say, Jerry, is there anything that you wanted to add at all? Or should we move on to the next question?
No, it is interesting because I've worked for, I won't give names of companies, but I've worked for a company that deals with marketing and advertising of their own products. And whilst I can't really comment on the 2 examples that was given in the question, I was part of a couple of meetings where the conversation was around somebody saying, what can make the most impact? And then with that was discussing different groups of people, and it can happen. But on the flip side is what we're seeing on social media. It is good to see that people's BS detectors are pretty good on social media. So if people are trying to kind of take that outdated way of marketing, it will be fairly obvious to people fairly quickly. Fingers crossed.
Yes, and just a really cute comment from my chat. I won't say who it is, but somebody says they also felt that pride when they saw Dr. Kate Ross in Elite Dangerous's credits. just changed as it should be. And so yes. Yeah. Very proud of you for that as well, my darling.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, of course, under contract with the company I work for, this company is an absolutely wonderful workplace for people who are transitioning, and they're very supportive, and I cannot fault them. So there's my seal of approval for Frontier so far.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you mind if I hijack for another?
Go for it.
This question. So taking it back to the question, its original wording, are LGBTQIA plus characters used as marketing? How do we feel about it? Another important aspect of this, something which I feel strongly about and want to combat, is if a character of such exists anywhere, there is inevitably a deluge on social media of, oh, they've just put it there for marketing, or oh, they've just put it there for pandering, or it's just been they're adding politics to my video game. No. LGBTQIA plus people exist. Their existence in your game is not a political stance on how your country should be run. We're here. We're not going anywhere.
Yep.
And to pretend we don't exist, to deny those characters, is suppression, and it's not on.
Yeah.
Not everything is marketing.
No. I had this discourse yesterday on Twitter, actually, with somebody who said, trans people have only just started to exist, and there are, if you're interested in knowing about it, there are myths and stories. And a myth is just a story that is believed to have been true, not something that is fake. There are myths of transgender gods in West Africa about 7,000 years ago, where they believed the sun and the moon goddesses were transgender and changed their genders at will. Trans people have always been here. That's it.
can confirm the moon is trans.
It's also an egg. We know this. It's a dragon, right? All right. Any last words on this one before we move on to the next one?
I quickly want to hook in on what the last thing that Dr. K said. It was like my personal vision would be the ideal vision for the whole world. It's just to see everyone as people. Nothing specific, nothing whatever, just people. And that's the vision that I have. Like some people come to me like, well, I'm this or I feel like this, and she said, is that a bothering? And I'm like, why? Why should that be even a bothering? Why would you even think that would be a thing that you need to explain? Just be who you are. And I hope everyone will share that vision one time on a day.
Yeah.
That the whole world, just nothing political, just nothing, just people.
Just people. Cool.
Exactly.
Yep. All right, Jerry, did you have something?
No.
Nope, cool. It's all right. I saw your light flash, so I just wanted to check. Is everyone happy to move on to the next question?
Yes.
All right. So this next question is going to be about health. So the question specifically mentions mental health, but I will just open it up to health itself. How do you balance being in the public eye alongside poor mental health, poor physical health, a condition like agoraphobia or PTSD, or just a low period in your mood? How do you balance both of these things? Because they exist in a single person. And then whoever wants to start, I think Luca's raring to go, but...
Yeah, because for me this is like very personal. So if no one minds, I will start. What I had health problems since I was a kid, and since I was a kid, no one ever believed me. And throughout my 8 years in my school, I was bullied. I was called hypochondriac, including by teachers. They didn't believe me. I had a broken bone when I had papers from doctors. I had x-ray done, everything. It was that bad. And so then I suddenly wasn't able to walk. I was, out of school, out of that school, everything. But suddenly I lost my dream job because I couldn't walk. I cannot use my hands. I cannot do anything. And there's this army of doctors telling me that there is nothing wrong. And that was really tough mentally.
Yes.
And so this was a question I had to solve when I was streaming, whether I want to talk about my health, whether I want to risk that once again people will call me that I'm lying, that I'm hypochondriac or something. And it was a very much a struggle to embrace it. I don't want to say that I'm proud that I'm disabled, because that doesn't feel right, but I call myself disabled because to me it's almost like a shield. It's like, see, there is something wrong with me, and I am disabled. I now have this diagnosis, even though I was not diagnosed for a long time, and I keep repeating that because I know there are so many people who have serious health problems and cannot get a diagnosis, and I know how it feels. And so in the end, I just decided that I will talk about it constantly. I will just share how I'm feeling. If I'm having a bad day, on social media, those posts, no one shares them. They have horrible engagement. Social media doesn't encourage you to be open about things like that. But I'm doing it. I am sharing it. And I know that there are people out there who really appreciate that, who really appreciate that they can see that, hey, other people are also not feeling great all the time, that it's okay to not feel great all the time, but also know that, I might feel better. It's just right now, it really sucks, and it does not define me that right now it sucks. So how I balance it is just being open on social media, and when I can't stream, I can't stream. And thankfully, my community is amazingly open and accepting. And when I say that I can't stream this week at all, even though I was scheduled to do 3 streams, they are like, sure, Luca, take care of yourself. And yes. I love that.
Thank you, Luca. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Who wants to speak up next?
I will put my hand up unless anybody else.
Go on, Jerry. Go on.
So that's really interesting to hear Luca talk about that, because I am the opposite, and I can definitely say it's not worked for me. It's like, if something has come up and I'm having to cancel on the stream, I've approached it from a point of almost sort of ashamedness, kind of to either finding an excuse or not saying anything at all. So hopefully that will encourage me to go sort of forward, because how do I manage streaming with all this? The answer is I don't, and I haven't, because when things get bad, I wake up one day and I can have the best laid plans, and that's not good for a Twitch streamer long term with the canceling the streams as often as I've had to do. So I'm trying to find that perfect balance right now, I must admit.
That's all right. You can be at any point in this journey. Some of us understand what we need to do for ourselves. Some of us are still learning. Some of us haven't even gotten to that point. So I really appreciate hearing that side of the story, Jerry.
Thank you.
Who's up next? Oh my God, hands! All right, fight, go! Go on, player.
Oh, because you're on that side for me. So for me, I made a conscious decision from day one that I would be open and honest about it. I got my diagnosis, and once I stopped crying, because I'm a full-grown man and I cry. Why wouldn't I? Just found out I got cancer. Why wouldn't I? Come on.
Yep.
I sat down in front of a camera and I recorded a video to talk about it. And I said all the right things I thought I should say at the time. I'm not scared. I'm going to fight. I'm not worried about this. I've got this. I know. And there are some things I said there that are really, really true, which is like, I've got a great support behind me. I've got my wife, I've got my parents, I've got my friends. I know that I've got this great support behind me. It's all good. I hope people really understand, what's going to happen and what, how things are going to be. And, but I'm strong and I'm not scared. And I stared at the camera. I went straight into it. I went, I'm not scared. It's like, what a bloody liar. Terrified. So like I had surgery, and that's how I found out I had cancer. And one of the side effects from that was possible that I'd lose my voice. And then I had basically the same surgery again, but on the other side of my neck, in order to remove my thyroid gland to make sure I didn't have any, remove as much cancer as possible, get it out, and then we'll worry about mopping it up after. And there, my voice got a little bit weak, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's actually getting a bit scary now, because I'd already started doing YouTube for gaming, and I hadn't started live streaming, I don't think, at that point. And I recorded some vlogs, recorded some stuff in hospital, like post-surgery wound porn is what my brother called it. He's a nurse, so that's why he would call it. He's like, oh yeah, wound porn, great. He's like, send me some pictures of it. It's like, okay, and I did, and he was like, oh, brilliant. And it's like, cool, yeah, great, glad you're enjoying it. But anyway, record all these vlogs and stuff, and then 2 years after all of my treatments and stuff, things got worse again. And because that's the order it tends to go in, is that your cancer either gets better or it gets worse. There is some staying normal, but eventually it will go one way or the other. And for mine, it got worse. I found a much larger lump grow down here, and under that, I was still working under the guise. It was something very, very treatable, very, very normal. And they're like, that shouldn't have happened. We'll go and cut it out. And then I lost my voice after that surgery. And I've got a scar that runs down from there all the way under, and they removed a crap ton of nerves, which was partially due to my vocal cords. So that kind of stopped half my vocal cords from working. So I had this croaky, wet, fart sound voice. And I was like, that's it, I'm done. I'm never going to talk again. I'm never going to be able to do YouTube. I'm never going to do streaming. I'm never going to be able to talk to my wife and tell her I love her again. I'm not going to be able to do any of these things. And at the same time, I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink. I had to be fed by NG tubes. So having a tube rammed down your nose is a really unpleasant thing, going down to your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And I cried, I sobbed, and I thought, what, I think I'm going to give up. But I also told everyone this as it was happening, because I think being open, being honest, telling people exactly what's going on is never a bad thing, because it means you're not hiding anything. It means people don't think something's happening that isn't, or they think that you might not be telling the truth, or you're hiding something. But being open and being honest, I don't think anyone's ever been complained at for being honest. I mean, it's too honest, admittedly. You can be rude, but honesty in its purest form is a positive trait. It's a good thing, and I always think that's important. And so now, sometimes I don't feel like streaming. I'm on medication that makes me really tired and gives me a very upset stomach.
Yeah.
very upset stomach. And that's sometimes. So sometimes right now I feel great. I'm feeling actually really, really good. This is a good day. I'm happy to be here, happy to be, live on the internet talking to people. But then tomorrow, or even in a couple of hours' time, I might go, oh,
yeah,
and that's it. And the bottom drops out of my fuel tank and I'm done. And for that, I have to turn around and go, sorry guys, this is how I feel. I'm done. I can't, no stream today. But I think my community is used to it at this point. They know that I'm inconsistent, but me being inconsistent is me being consistent now.
Yeah.
I guess I'm at that point. I'm not, it's a hobby. Content creation is a hobby. My job is fighting cancer. So I'm like, that's where I am.
Badass. And you're doing a wonderful job, my darling. I'm very proud of you again, because I've known you for 3-4 years now, so I've seen a lot of what you've gone through from what you've shared, and I'm very proud of you as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Stacey, my darling, what would you like to add?
Yes. So in answer to the question, how do I balance everything? How do I balance health and streaming and work? The answer is poorly. Terribly.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to say that and to be open with people, because I think especially on social media, like, it's all smoke and mirrors. You see like a snapshot of someone's life and you think, this person's got it together. They know what they're doing. They're amazing. They're fighting this disease and they're doing this and they're doing that. And the truth is, it's hard. It's really freaking hard sometimes. Especially as someone that has a disability, and you're trying to achieve all these things and you feel like your body's working against you. But like everyone else, I've found that being open with my community has been really, really key. And everyone's been super supportive. And I think it makes people feel confident in talking about their own struggles too. And I think that's really important, and that helps to break down the stigma that we might have around mental health and physical health. And I think that, and being open on the internet and being open with my community, has helped me in my sort of my real life, my IRL life outside of streaming as well, because I've always been absolutely terrible at asking for help. I hate it. My husband will tell you that I will suffer and suffer and suffer and never ask for help. But being open on the internet and having a supportive community has helped me so much with that when I started my last job, in the daytime, I work for Sega Europe. I'm an analyst. I play with graphs all day. I love it. And from day one, I had the confidence from Twitch and from social media. I had the confidence to ask for help from day one and say, hey, look, I have these disabilities. They affect me in this way. I'm going to need a bit of support. I'm going to need some accommodations. I never would have been able to do that, 6 or 7 years ago before Twitch. Never would have had that confidence, and they've been great. They've been fantastic. And I think that just being open from day one with people is always so great, because people understand what you're going through, and it's hard to be open sometimes. Yes. But I think that in the end, it's only going to benefit you, because you're going to be able to access the support and the help that you need. And yeah, pushing through it and not asking for help and pushing your body beyond its limits is only going to make things worse.
Yes.
But yeah, so I would strongly encourage people to, dip their toe into it and try and be open and honest about it with others, because I think you'll find that the larger community is actually pretty nice and pretty supportive. So yeah, it's helped me a lot.
Thank you, Stacey. Dragon, is there anything that you'd like to add about, balancing PTSD with everything else?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, I want to say that everyone here feels really inspirational, and I'm really proud of everyone sharing their story. Just want to put it out there real quick. Next to that, PTSD for me, I had, like Fane is having now, is EMDR. I have had that in the past. I will let Fane tell that part, because I feel like she can explain it way better than I could ever do. It's been also very long for me. So I have had that experience like years ago. I don't know if it's actually okay if I share what happened. It's
completely up to you. If anyone does feel if anyone does feel triggered, or there's anything that they need help with, you can type in !I need help into the chat, and that will give you a helpline.
So yeah, but I've always struggled saying that. I have actually cropped it up till I was about 17, I believe. I met my wife. She was the first person I actually trusted enough to tell it. Which was I have been sexually abused when I was around 12.
Okay.
That had I cropped it away back then. I didn't think about it, whatever. And I met the person that did it like 2 years later again, and everything came rushing back in like a train hitting you. And that was hard, and it still is. Till recently, I managed to let it go, which is something I never thought I would ever be able to do. When I share, I notice I'm starting to get emotional, so watch out.
Take your time. Take a breath if you need to.
Like when I met my wife, I've like to give a little bit more whole completion of it. Like I've had depression as well, feel alone. Like I've never had the connection with my family that they accepted me for who I was. I was always different. I was oversensitive, so I would cry like instantly just over the smallest thing, you know. Like and like Commander Plate, I believe. Yeah, Player mentioned before, like a man, you know, crying. That's a whole stereotype that doesn't happen, you know. But I was a crybaby all time of my life, and still am. I'm 27. I'm still a crybaby, and I don't mind. And yeah, so the whole stigma around my family is that they don't really accept who I am. I have long hair; they don't like that. I have different styles, and so on and so on. So I always felt lonely. And then the PTSD happened, and I felt even more lonely. It felt like I was on a sinking ship into the void. And I never trusted people enough to say it. I always wore a mask. I always said I was happy, I was fine. And I told some people when I was not fine, which is also okay. But I never actually told them what I actually felt deep, deep inside the loneliness. No one could feel that void. And then I met my wife. She's a really particular person, honestly. She once she said, like, she messaged me on WhatsApp, I believe. I really hate when people suddenly get my phone number without my permission and things like that. So I was already ready to wave her off. And she said, like, you pretend to be happy, you look happy, but I can pierce right through that mask and see that you are not. You're having troubles. And that interested me because it was the first person in all those years that actually did that.
Oh.
And then, well, one thing led to another. Like, I trusted her, and I actually told her. And I also told her, like, I don't know what's going to happen when I tell you. I have anger, sadness, fear, all those things cropped up for years. And I mean it, years that I never let out. And then she said one thing, the one thing that made me so comfortable. She said, I'm just going to hug you. And honestly, when it happened, I was like, oh shit, you know, it's getting real. And then when the moment actually came, when I really had to get it out or I would just break as a whole, I cried. I said it, and I literally, and it was one of the scariest moments in my life. I literally saw it appear in black into my eyes, like literally voiding over me. And it was terrifying. And then it disappeared, and all I saw was like a waterfall in my ear or in my eyes. Because he was hugging me. I felt love. I felt not alone for the first time in years.
That is absolutely incredible, man.
Yeah, that was the first step in my process of healing. It was amazing, and I wouldn't be here to the point I am now, just maybe not in general, if it wasn't for her. You know, like, it's my wife.
Can we clap?
Yes,
Yep, we can.
Thank you. Like, see, it's like I keep saying to her, and she has been my saving angel, literally. And I have ever since, like, I'll to something totally different. Like, I have a speech problem as well, and people correct me sometimes. A lot of people get really annoyed when you get corrected. You know, like I'm different, and I want to be corrected. I want to do it right. I want to learn. And with that intention, I also really wanted to learn how to be better, how to get out of this, how to learn to love myself and to, well, you know, live like everyone else. And just recently, sorry.
Take a breath.
Don't break my glass. There we go. I have learned something that I thought I never would be able to do, and it is literally love myself, accept myself where I am. I have not been depressed anymore for at least half a year. Well, only recently when I heard that my Arrow expansion didn't go through, and I was a little bit depressed. You know, I was like, well, fuck. You know, but that was the first time I felt the tiniest bit of depression, and it was away within an hour or something. You know, it was a little bit disappointing, but it was fine. The only thing I feel right now is just an immense amount of tiredness because of just my whole situation, which is a whole story on its own. I'm not really. I do want to share, but that like I can talk hours about that. Just shortly, I live still in the parents' house, and things conflict, and we need to get our house, which the PTSD is kind of involved in as well because I have concentration problems. I get trouble getting work. I do have work now, which I'm honestly grateful for. They accepted me to be there. They are the most wholesome people that they are. They noticed even, which I never expected. Like we can notice in your mails and your way of work that something is not right. So do you want to talk about it? You know, and I was like, oh damn, you know, I actually found a place where I want to be. So the last step is just get a house and finally get some rest, to get some energy and just finish my health, like the what was it? Recovery, just to finish that. That's like a whole big story smashed into one all together. Like that's why I also want to inspire people by talking about PTSD. I learned to open up, and what I learned with that, which is one I give to people as well, when you open up to someone, tell what you have been through, a bit of the struggles that you have chips off. They take it with them, you know. They won't probably not even notice, but they will carry it with you. And if you do that like 100 times, just imagine like a huge clump of clay. It's actually just so small like this, and everyone is carrying a little piece of it, and that makes things so much easier. And that's what I learned, to open up about it and share. You know, hopefully share someone the feeling as well, like that they have like struggles as well, that they feel like less lonely. Because what I mentioned earlier is like loneliness is the number one thing that almost killed me.
Yeah.
That is legit the number one thing that almost killed me. And yeah. And at this point, like being really, really extremely tired sometimes. That's yeah. That's like I said, the whole story on its own. But yeah, that's PTSD for me. And the whole story around it, like all smashed up into a little piece.
I think I can speak for everyone here when I say we are all incredibly proud of you for coming through this. It's not going to have been easy at all, and I know many of us won't have had your experience, but it takes a very strong person to say what happened to them publicly and to own that, and it's not your fault, and you are valid, and I'm so happy you've been able to share it with us.
Thank you. I just want to add one more on it. It's just always love yourself. That is the number one thing for recovery. You just imagine like you're having problems with someone else, you have a fight with them, you don't want to see them for a while, you know. Just imagine that person being your inner self. Why would you want to fight your inner self and make things harder than it already is?
Brilliant.
Like become friends with yourself and go on the journey together, you know. That saying things that you're proud of yourself. It's something you should be able to say. So that was the last thing I wanted to say.
Don't you worry. We're nearly out of time, but we have got a few people left, so we will speed run. We will speed run. Who else wanted to chime in on this?
Just briefly, from War. Yeah, kind of in terms of kind of as Dragon's been very vulnerable, being vulnerable in the public eye isn't a bad thing. If anything, long term, it benefits you and the others around you. I mean, don't get me wrong. Once upon a time, if anyone asked me how I was doing, I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine. Whatevs. Just leave me alone. Now, if anyone's like when we were kind of chatting before, Luke was like, "Do you want the honest answer?" You know, which is it? But yeah, I find personally, if I need to cancel a stream, you know, my little community is fine with that. They're aware that obviously I'm dealing with PTSD and the therapy that goes with that. I mean, I do host my mental health stream on a Thursday after my therapy session. I kind of almost treat it like second therapy, because it's kind of nice just to have like chilling music and just chat to everyone about stuff and kind of go, yeah, it was hard, or oh, this session was actually kind of easy, you know, it wasn't quite as bad. But you as a streamer and a content creator, being vulnerable and being honest with people when you need to shift things around just means that you get to keep the quality of people in your community because they understand they're with you through the entire journey. They're not there just because you've become a viral meme. You know, that's so I'm all for it.
Brilliant. Ooh. Thank you very much. Sorry, very tappy keyboards. I muted myself quickly. Would anyone else like to weigh in on this? Kay or Jerry?
I'll throw in a sentence or two. I had a sentence in my mind, but now it's just fallen apart again. You know how it goes. But it's mostly just echoing what many others have said, and that's, I mean, it's something I struggled with a lot previously, is you do need to be a friend to yourself. You need to recognize that you are a person yourself. You are not a content machine. I mean, personally, I used to have various issues with dissociation. But you can't just pilot yourself as a meat machine. Oh, I will do this. This is what I said I would do, and it's a failing if I don't do it. No, not at all. Be a friend to yourself. Look after yourself. And I'm very thankful for the prevalence of spoon theory, or people mentioning spoons, how it's in common vernacular now. Because you can just say, I don't have the spoons today. People will understand without you trying to think, oh, I need to tell them stuff I'm not comfortable with, or I need to think of some way out of it. My preferred way, sorry, I don't have the spoons. I won't be able to do a good show today. I'll see you soon, though, and thank you. And that really helps take the pressure off.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kay. Very much appreciated. And Jerry, was there anything you'd like to add?
Just yeah, it's just I just actually PM Dragon, but it's remarkable from what he was saying, and especially Kay talking about the courage to be open with yourself, seeing a very similar path but being on a very opposite side of it, and it's kind of, I'm really encouraged and happy just hearing what I can draw from other people, even if I haven't really offered that much to the stream. So I just want to say thank you for Dragon for his story. That was amazing. Well, not story, his truth is, just blew me mind a bit, to be honest.
Know what you mean, and anything you lovely group have said is still incredibly important and incredibly valid to this entire conversation. And as I say, when we look to do the next set of streams, I'm going to try and make sure that everyone has a little bit more time to chat, because we've all lived full lives of who we are, whatever stage in our journey we've been in. So there's so much we can say, and I'm so thankful and so proud that you've all come and shared with us here today and just taken your time. And I know some of you are going to just go and straight onto a sofa shortly and rest, and you have all earned that. And again, I thank you all so much. Does anyone have any final words that they'd like to say before we introduce the second group of today's stream?
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for sharing their stories and sharing so much personal stuff. I know it's incredibly hard to talk about, and y'all are amazing. Holy poop. And also, can we just have a group hug right now?
Yes, we absolutely can.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to add on that as well. Yeah, just amazing. You all are amazing people. You're lovely people, and I can't wait to get to hang out with you guys all. If you all want to, to hang out in your streams, all that kind of things. You're just all amazing. And, yeah,
absolutely.
Stay amazing.
And a reminder to everyone in my chat, you can type in !multi MULTI to get the links to everyone here. And I'm sure they'll pop up in the chat occasionally, or we can link them just in case you want to follow a specific person and learn a little bit more about them. Oh, hi, Tigger.
I would just add that don't forget that it's okay to not be okay.
Very much so. Very much so.
Definitely.
All right. Well, then I will thank you all, my darlings. We're going to go quickly to a 5-minute break just so I can get all the links updated, get everyone into the group, make sure all the audio is working because I forgot to turn it on initially, and then we will go from there. So thank you all for your time and for your stories. I cannot thank you enough, and I'm sure I will catch up with you after the stream. But goodbye, my friends, for now. I will see you all shortly.
Bye. Thank you.
Good luck with the rest of the stream. You rock.
Bye.
There we go. Right.